More. I remember when I was in junior high school, uh, and your parents would have to come up to see the teacher to like get a progress report on you. And I told my mother asked me, she said, "Am I going to get a bad report?" She said, I said, "No, you're not going to get one." But the closer we got to school, I wound to confessing and say, "You might get a bad report from this one teacher because I keep talking, and then the teachers, ask me to stop talking, and I'll stop, but then I'll go again." So I had like ADD in junior high school. When she got up there, she the teacher started telling my mother what I do in class, and I'm like, "Man, I'm in trouble." And so it's the teacher, it's my mother, and it's me, and I'm there with my head down. I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna get it," because my mother don't play games. She does her thing, and she'll discipline me anywhere, anytime. And so the teacher said, "Yeah, Keith, he talks sometimes, and he doesn't listen sometimes." And so my mother looked over at me and she said, "Is that true, Keith?" And I said, "Yes." And my mother's hands are so fast. Okay. My hands are so fast. And I'm just sitting there, yes, and boom, right there. And before you know it, my hand was on my lip, and I'm like drawing tears down my face. And the teacher tries to have sympathy on me. "Oh, don't hit him. He'll do better." And my mother will respond, "Don't tell me how to treat my son." That's how she would respond. I remember in high school. High school. You never want to get spanked in high school. You never want to get disciplined in high school. I remember she asked me again, "Keith, am I going to get a bad report?" And I said, "No." Closer we got to school, I'm going to go get a bad report from one teacher. And so we get in front of this teacher, and round two, right there, "Keith, is that true?" "Yes." Bow, right there again. And I got another fat lip, and I'm like, "Man." But you know what? Sometimes my mother wouldn't get me right there on the spot. She would wait. And I'm like, "All right, my mother forgot. She's not going to hit me." Well, uh, when I come home and I walk through the door, she'll be waiting behind the door with a belt. And so as soon as I walk in, everything is fine. I'm like, "Yeah. Wow!" And I just go right into the room. Once I feel that belt on my back, and then I'm out. I go to the room, and she would hit me, and I would put the blanket up. So she couldn't hit me with the belt, but she would put the blanket down, put it down, and I'm like, and somehow that belt always connected with me, even though I had a blanket. It always connected on my body somewhere. So just the disciplines of me growing up. How many of you got disciplined? Anybody get spankings in here? Yeah, right. Yes, spankings I can hear. Right, right. And here's one more thing that my mother did. She wouldn't get me in front of the teacher. She wouldn't get me when I come home. She would get me while I was asleep. That is the worst. Because here's what would happen. I would get a cup of cold water thrown in my face. And so it feels like I'm drowning. What happened? And then I just see the bell. Dang! Just come down right on me. So now I can't sleep. I got to sleep with one eye open because I'm not sure if she's finishing. All right. And I had a wet bed, so like I beat the bed too. I couldn't sleep. But those are my days, and those days are over, by the way. Nobody throws cold water on me no more. And it's the belt. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been the man who I was today because of the discipline my mother showed me. And tonight I want to talk about the mercy and justice of God. And my mother's justice had to be satisfied with a belt right on my behind. And that's how she satisfied her wrath on me. I deserved it. I deserved it because I was being disrespectful. I was being disobedient to my teachers in public school. Well, here's how we're going to define God's mercy tonight. God not giving us what we do deserve. God's mercy is defined as God not giving us what we do deserve. Can you say that with me? God not giving us what we do deserve. One more time. God not giving us what we do deserve. God's mercy. Here's how we're going to define God's justice. God must judge sin. God must judge those who don't believe. Wow. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But in today's world, we're always looking for justice, right? Always looking for justice. Man, And let me give a few examples. One time I had a kid. I was walking home from church, actually. And this kid, Hispanic kid, long hair, with two girls, trying to show off. And I'm like, man, I see trouble, from afar. So I'm minding my business. It's New Year's Eve. I just want to get upstairs with my family. I want to see the ball drop on TV. Well, this kid, he just approaches me and says, do you want to fight? Now, I live in New York City. So it's not weird that people are going to ask me that because some people are just crazy. He was a little drunk. He was about 17, too. And he asked me if I want to fight. I said, man, I'm minding my business. Walking home. But this kid had one hand in his pocket, and he had one fist up. Ain't nobody fights like that, right? You fight with two hands. So he had one hand in his pocket, one hand like this, and he's coming at me. I'm like, man, this kid don't even know how to fight. Well, this kid pulls out some pepper spray and tries to pepper spray me in my face, right in front of two girls. And the two girls are like, stop, stop. And, you could have stopped him. You could have grabbed him, but they're just sitting there, stop, stop. And that's not gonna do anything. That's just gonna, whatever. I'll move on. So I literally ran home that day. I ran home. Like he chased me. I ran home. Ran home. And you know what? I was mad because I don't want to be treated like no punk. Like, how you just go come to me and try to disrespect me in front of people, or how you yourself going to try to disrespect me. Don't disrespect me. Nobody likes to be disrespected. And so I remember I had a dog at the time, and I wrapped a dog chain around my hand. So when I see this kid, I'm punch this kid out. I'm punching his face. Honestly, I did that. But you know what? 3 months later, I saw this kid. And guess where I saw him? I saw him on a platform. Now, we have something called the subway in New York City, where you take the train back and forth to wherever you want to go. And I saw this kid standing on the edge of the platform. This kid has no idea who I am, but I know who he is. Because I remember that man chasing me. And I was like, man, I see this kid again. And I see him standing there, and he looks at me. He has no idea who I am. I said, you know what? I could push this man right there in the tracks. I could push him right there. And honestly, I wanted to do that for revenge. I wanted to do that. I didn't want to have mercy on him. I had a right to do that because he chased me, tried to pepper spray me. I had a right to do that. But you know what? I took one look at this kid, and I walked the other way. And I said, thank God that I'm able to do that because, you know what? That was God. God said, let it go. I could have been in jail. I could have went to jail for pushing him in the tracks. Although he tried to pepper spray me, the law at hand, we don't know he tried to pepper spray you, but we do know that you pushed this man in the train tracks, so you're going down. Justice. Mercy. Let me give a few examples. Carl Ferguson. Anybody know Carl Ferguson? Nobody here, right? Nobody here. Okay. Well, it was this random black guy who got on the train, not in New York City, and you can look it up online. And you know what? To be honest, I'm going to be Blake. I'm going to be frank with you. This man got on the train and he just started blasting white people. He just started shooting. This black guy named Carl Ferguson got on the train, started shooting white people, dead white people. Like, wow, that's crazy, right? Let me give you another example. Apple Louima. Nobody knows Apple Louima here. No. All right. He lived in New York City. Here's what happened with Apple Louima. innocent man. He's from Africa. And these detectives decided to treat this man really wrong. They were white detectives. And they shoved the broomstick up his rear end, took his manhood. Wow. What? Yeah. They took the broomstick and shoved it up his rear end. Well, the black activists got involved. Some black activists, Al Sharpton, John Cochran, you know some of those guys, which some of you probably don't. But look them up online. And, they wanted justice because they took this man's manhood away. Wow. Wow. And so they sued the city for a large amount of money, and guess what? They won. But that's not going to bring Abaluwima's manhood back. Now, those cops did go to jail. They did get put away. But the justice, people want justice in this world. Another dude, Amadou Diallo. Man, this man was walking into his apartment. And the cops, the policemen, they pulled up to the apartment complex, and they all had their guns out. And this man is walking in, and they said, "Freeze!" This man is innocent. But the cops don't know that. And so, this man, true story, he pulls out a wallet, because he wants to show who he is. But when he did that, the cops took 41 shots at him. They fired the gun 41 times. And 19 of those bullets hit Amadou Diallo. Died. Right there. This man's parents sued the city for a large amount of money. Black activists got involved. They wanted justice. They want these cops. They want them dead. Put the cops away. They won the lawsuit. They won for a large amount of money. But here's what Amadou Diallo's mother said. She said, "All the money won't bring my son back. And if all the money could bring my son back, I would give them all the money. I would give the doctors all the money to bring my son back." We all want justice in this world. So the question is, again tonight, where was God when all of this happened? Where was God? Cops took 41 shots. 19 of those bullets hit him. Where was God? And tonight I want to focus on the mercy and justice of God. Another story. My father, I told you I grew up without a father figure in my life. And when I was 21 years old, I'm 24 now, so don't do the math. 3 years ago, I did the math for you, by the way. I went back, I was thinking, I said, man, I got this crazy idea of going back to my father and forgiving him for not taking care of me. 21 years. So, what? Yeah. I even thought I was crazy. Man. You know what? My father, he has to come to me to ask me for forgiveness. Because I didn't do nothing wrong. He's the one who done wrong. He made the child, and he didn't take care of it. He didn't take care of it. He deserves to come back to me and apologize. Well, I called up my father, who lived in the Bronx. I live in Manhattan. And I called him. I said, "Hey, Kevin," name's Kevin, "I need to talk to you. I want to talk to you about something." He said, "Yeah, come on over." And I got to his house. When I got to his house, I sat him down. This wasn't easy. This was not easy.